Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys. But today, I also have someone that I'm super, super excited to actually bring back to the channel and hang out with. So we'll get to her in just a few seconds. But hey, welcome. I'm super excited to have each and every one of you here. We already have a couple people in the chat. We got Miss Linda, who has been here, I'm not going to lie, probably every single Thursday since February of 24. It's really, really rare for me to not see Linda in this chat. So I just wanted to shout you out and say thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us and being here every single week to learn from myself, to learn from the EverBee team, and then obviously also the guests that we have on a weekly basis. We also have Marty Ortiz in the chat today, Plan B Lifestyle. Hi, guys. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm in Michigan, as some of you know, and it is just gross outside today. We're going to be talking to somebody on the channel today that just probably has way better than all of us combined. And I'm really excited for her to tell you about why she chose that particular place in the world and how she's able to build a multi-six-figure business all over there at one time. So super excited to jump into that. But let me know, we also have Real Kayak Fishing here today. Good morning. Good morning. They're actually in West Virginia. Someone is, it looks like Lucas Wigington. I did not want to say that wrong. Lucas Wigington Music is from Arkansas. We've got someone else from New Jersey. So excited to have you guys here. Looks like we're feeling real East Coast today. I'm liking that. I also have Virginia Beach, Virginia is here. Hello, Divine Babe Oracle. I saw you last week, I believe. So super excited to have you guys here as well. So for today, just want to do a little bit of housekeeping really quick before we invite our guest. First and foremost, just wanted to quickly let you guys know, if you are someone that does hang out with us on a consistent basis every week, we actually are not having Coffee with EverBee next Thursday because my hope is you guys don't want to talk to me on Thanksgiving Day. So I really hope you have a great Thanksgiving if you do celebrate it with your friends and family. Hope you get all the deals for Black Friday, whatever you guys do to celebrate or just to spend time and maybe reflecting about the year, being thankful for everything that happened in 2025, and then projecting into the new year. However you celebrate it, we hope you have an incredible time, but we will come back in action on, let me confirm, December 4th. So I will see you guys bright and early at 10 a.m. on Thursday, December 4th. We're just taking next week off, okay? With that in mind, I wanted to also really quickly hit on a Black Friday thing that we actually have going on here at EverBee as well. If you are not a part of our private Facebook group, I highly recommend checking that out first. It should be in the description of this video or this live stream, that you can actually go and click that and then go straight to our Facebook group, because we are talking about a Black Friday special that we're doing at EverBee. So that actually went live, like we were teasing it for a couple of days now. So I believe last Friday is when we first announced it to everyone on our Facebook group. But we are going officially live with it on actual Black Friday on the 28th. So next Friday. And the person that I have on the channel today has actually curated another bonus. So last week when we were talking with Adam Callanan about profitability in your business, I showed you guys a little bonus that you'd be getting in the Black Friday offer should you decide to move forward with it. And today we're doing the exact same thing. So she actually has built a curated bonus for you guys. It's amazing. I've actually seen it myself. And it's going to help you with the things that we're going to be talking about today on this channel. Designing. So how to make the best designs, how to find the best designs, how to scale designs into multiple different niches. We're going to go over all of that today. And then she is just going to go even more in depth in her curated bonus for the Black Friday special at EverBee. So like I mentioned, make sure you're in the Facebook group, because that's where we're going to have all of the info about the Black Friday special. We do have a VIP waitlist that is happening right now. So if you want to be the first to know and the first person to find out when we actually drop the full special next Friday, you're going to want to join that waitlist, okay? So with that, just wanted to let you guys know that that is happening. So while you're doing your shopping, you can also basically get you your whole Etsy success scheduled for 2026 with a bunch of curated bonuses and a bunch of things that we're going to offer you next Friday. Okay. So with that said, I think that's all I have for the housekeeping for today. But I do also just want to say one little last thing, just in case you're new here. We usually like to keep a live Q&A at the end of the conversation with our guest. So if you have anything for our guest today, if you're like, oh, how'd she do that? Or why'd she do that? Or tell us more, that is totally fine. Go ahead and let us know. You can ask me questions or you can ask our guest questions today. All you have to do is drop it in the live chat if you're watching this live, or if you have a question for our guest or anything else in the future that might have came to your head after you finish with this live stream. If you're watching the live or if you're watching the replay of the video, you can go ahead and just drop it in the comments and we will make sure to hit that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest today, my good friend, Jenny from the Shopp. Hey, girl.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so excited to have you here. Obviously, we had you, I think it was the beginning of last summer. And then we also had you in December when we had like a little Christmas party with you, me, Heather,
Yes.
and Cassie. And that was so much fun. I'm considering doing something similar again this year. But catch me
Oh,
up.
yeah.
It's been a year. Like,
I
how's
still have
everything
my
going?
I still have my EverBee Christmas sweater from last year. So
Nice. So
taking out
mine's
my closet.
dirty.
Right.
Mine's
It's
dirty,
dirty.
unfortunately, so I had to wear a
Oh.
zipper hoodie today. But yeah, I mean, it's been a year since we had you on the channel. So kind of let people know who you are, give them a little insight into why we should even listen to you today. Catch me up. How's things been going?
Okay. Hi, I'm Jenny. For those of you that don't know me, I teach how to do Etsy and print on demand on YouTube, Jenny from the Shopp, and also TikTok and Instagram. So if you like what you hear today, come say hi to me over there. But basically, I have been doing Etsy. Well, let's see. I've been on Etsy for like over 10 years now. I started with handmade products on Etsy and was not successful at all. And I had to let go of it for like 8 years, and then found out about print on demand and jumped back into that around 2020. And it's been history ever since. I was a teacher. I used to live in New Jersey, so I see that there's a lot of East Coast people here. Yep. Hi, neighbors. I'm from New Jersey. I was a teacher for 8 years and just felt really burnt out and just wanted, I had my daughter at the time. She was like 2 years old, and I wanted to stay home and watch her grow up. And my big why was having pretty much time freedom. I wanted to watch my daughter grow up, and I was feeling stressed at teaching. So I started looking into side hustles and ways to make money online. I tried a lot of side hustles and failed at a lot of side hustles, and then came Etsy. Print on demand. And it was the easiest. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it was the easiest for me out of all of the side hustles I was trying. And it was the fastest success that I found out of all the side hustles. So I leaned into it, and now I'm here. I was able to move to Greece. I was able to quit my teaching position after 1 year and then moved to Greece with my family the following year.
That's that much better weather that I'm experiencing. We were talking about earlier. How is the weather there today?
Well, I was going to say, you'd be surprised. So it's been beautiful lately, but by beautiful, I mean like high 60s. It actually does have kind of a colder season, and we're lucky. Normally it's rainy this time. It rains from like November till April. So if you ever want to book a trip to Greece, don't come during those months because you might get rained out. Just a heads up. I feel like a lot of people don't know that. But it's still beautiful. I mean, high 60s, you can walk around without a jacket, and by the sea, it's gorgeous. We love it here.
It's so funny when you say colder, it's like colder months, because if I were, let's just look and see what we're dealing with today. I'm just interested. It is.
Well, it's way better than New Jersey weather.
Yeah. 41 feels like 35, which is probably what you're feeling in Jersey if you're there right now.
Yeah. I don't want to have to shiver ever again. So that's why I moved away from Jersey.
Very cool. Well, I think I knew this, but I didn't really ever like catch on to it until just now in this conversation. The fact that you did other side hustles before print on demand, I actually didn't know that. Can you hit on like maybe one or two that like you tried that like you were really interested in, but maybe it just didn't take off?
Yeah. I just didn't want to like ramble on too long, but I love talking about that. So, we would come to Greece every summer, and my husband looked me in the eyes the final summer that we were vacationers here and said, we need to stay. And I was like, we can't stay. We have our jobs at home. But he was so serious. I was like, oh boy. So I'm like, all right, listen, I was like, if we can find a way to make money online, to be able to live there, I don't want to work there. But if we can make money online, cool. And we can fly home to see our family and friends whenever we want. Like that was the situation I wanted. So I started racking my brain, and I always wanted to write a children's book.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, maybe I'll make a children's book and become famous from that. And so I looked into how to write a children's book. And that was around the time that like Amazon KDP started. So I wrote and illustrated my own children's book.
Nice.
I used Procreate, which is also a design app. This was it was like before, this was like 2020, before we had like Kiddle and Playground and other places that could make you designs quicker. So I like hand drew everything, and
wow.
I put up a book on Amazon KDP. But the only people that I sold it like 100 times, but it was only to like family and friends, and like I was a teacher at the time, so like students and stuff like that, which was really cool. But I was like, well, I'm not going to really be successful with this if strangers aren't buying it. So I was looking into, sorry, I have like a hair in my eye.
You're good. I had one earlier. I was like picking at my eye.
I was looking into how to advertise. I'm so sorry right now. Let me just
You're good.
looking into how to advertise the book. So I was like, I need to get this out here. And as I was advertising, a video popped up, an ad popped up on the YouTube video about like making t-shirts and selling them on Etsy. But it wasn't print on demand. It was just somebody who had a t-shirt shop. So I was going to do that. And then I quickly found out about print on demand. But also on the side, it's such a ramble because I have tried so many things at like that same time. I was like, just so determined to get out of that position and come here. I was also doing Amazon FBA. I don't know if you're familiar with Amazon FBA, probably.
Yeah, fulfilled by Amazon, correct?
Yeah, and I was like pretty successful with that. My product sold out, but the thing is, you're dealing with like, you know, people all the way in China. The shipments would take so long to get to the Amazon warehouse, and it would be really stressful. And it was so much investment up front. I like barely had any money at that time, and I was like giving it all to these products that may or may not sell, and that scared me. And then like print on demand was just such a godsend because you don't have to pay for all of the inventory up front. You just pay for the item when you make a sale. So I was like, okay, let me lean into this a little bit more. And I was making some Etsy sales at that point. So I kind of let go of Amazon FBA and leaned more into Etsy.
Nice. I love hearing about all of that because I think there's a lot of people on this that probably had a similar or is having a similar experience. Like I am a full-time creator now, as you know, obviously. But I have done, I can't even count the amount of things that I have like dipped my toes in. And also dipping your toes in different platforms too is very interesting too, because it doesn't have to be a different side hustle to feel like an entirely new venture. If you dip your toes into Shopify, that's like very, very different than Etsy. If you dip your toes into EverBee store, it's very different than Instagram or whatever, you know, it might be. So I think that there's probably a lot of people who either have gone through that and can speak on that too, who are watching this, or they are in the process of what I like to call, I fall for this often, is the shiny object syndrome.
I know.
I knew you were going to get that.
I am so guilty. Like last night I was looking up, I don't think I can do it from here, but I want to do like the whole TikTok shop, like affiliate thing. I was looking into that and I was like, what are you doing? You live in Greece. Like it's not even for outside of the US. And I'm like, can I get a VPN? Like my brain doesn't stop.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because I actually posted a TikTok video while I was in Costa Rica. And it was about using the VPN, and you're like, you might have just saved me hours because I talked about that.
You were in my head last night. I was like, well, Leslie said I could use a VPN.
Right. That's so funny. Yeah, that's one of the shiny object syndromes that I've fallen for this year. And I've had a blast doing it. But it's one of those exact same things, like you just said a second ago, putting a bunch of investment up front, hoping to God it sells in some way, shape, or form. So it's the exact same thing for me because I wish I could show you guys. Actually, I can. This camera moves. We're going to go on an adventure.
Oh, yeah. Field trip.
It's the all of that. This is like real life, y'all. Like that's my actual floor filled with TikTok shop products. So it is that same concept of you have to buy a lot, or in my opinion, time is obviously the most expensive thing because we can't get it back, right? So investing a lot of time up front too. So I think
Yeah.
that perfectly segues into kind of like what we wanted to talk about today, being like, how do we save time overall? How do you save time overall now that
Mhm.
you have found the thing that actually works for you?
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, I know we did a lot of other little things before, but is the products that you're selling now different than what you were doing back in like 2020 or whatever when you first started? Or are you still focused really in the apparel space?
Mostly in apparel still. So I started in 2020 only t-shirts. Like I was so stubborn and I was like, no, only t-shirts. And then about a year in, I don't like a switch went off and I was like, if you have best-selling designs on your t-shirts, why wouldn't they sell on a sweatshirt too?
Yep.
So then I took my best-selling designs from t-shirt,
Mhm.
like I was sick because I was like, the money I've been missing out on, because the moment I took those designs from my t-shirts and put them on sweatshirts, those sweatshirts became bestsellers too. I was
Exactly.
like, oh my gosh. So if you guys only have your stuff on t-shirts, make sure you're putting your selling designs that are on t-shirts, put them on sweatshirts too. Guarantee you they will start to sell as well. Just tweak the SEO. Instead of t-shirts in your
Mhm.
titles and tags, change it to sweatshirts. So when I made that change, that was huge. But then I started adding things to mugs. So if the design looked, if I thought it would look good on a mug, then I would put it on a mug. And then also tote bags. And I also dabble into like different trends because I want to teach my audience,
Sure.
I want to stay up to date with things. So my main things are t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, tote bags, but then I test other products like blankets, cell phone cases. But yeah, like, so I started in 2020 for like the first year, just t-shirts. And then I just kind of added on from there.
Sweet. And did you have, let's just say for now, like in 2025, 2026, do you have one shop that you're managing, or do you do multiple and then those kind of products maybe niche down in other places?
So okay, so long story short,
Okay.
I have two shops. The reason why I have two shops is because my first one, people found out about it and it
Oh,
just
right.
like tanked my conversion rate because everybody copied my stuff, or they were like, look, maybe they weren't copying, but they were like looking and not buying, and Etsy was like, what's going on? So, but I still have that shop up and running. It makes some sales, but it like just hurt it. So in
Understood.
like 2022, I think it was, when I made my other shop. But I have all the same, I have t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, tote bags in both of those shops. And then my
Nice.
husband has a shop as
Nice.
well. So I like to say that we have three.
Yeah, for
But
sure,
like
for sure.
he's very OCD with his, and he does things a little bit different. I'm very OCD with mine.
Mhm.
Um, so, you know,
That's cool.
like he sells the same things as well. I would say he's mostly just t-shirts and sweatshirts though. And then sometimes I'm like, you gotta get on mugs and tote bags, but
Right,
he's
right.
t-shirts and sweatshirts.
You're like, learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Okay, so when we're thinking about, it's really, really good to know. I did not know that your husband had one. So it's good to know that he does, because my assumption would be those are two very different niches, potentially. And not even just like two individual ones, but like maybe he's targeting a different type of person and then you're targeting other people. Is that what it is? Or do you
Well,
guys do the
so the
same?
interesting thing is that's a really great question. And I love talking about his shops too, because we are examples that like you don't have to do the same thing as everyone. Like he has a very successful shop as well. And we have two completely different design styles. So in both of our shops, we cater towards so many different niches, both of us. I always say the more fishing poles, the more fish.
Mm,
Some
nice.
people just want one niche in a shop, and that's fine, but for my experience, the more the better. And same with my husband's experience. Now, his shop is mostly just text-based design. So like a big, bold, white font with a funny saying, and it works for him. And I'm like,
Nice.
that's ugly. And he's like, well,
Right.
so whereas my shop, I'm like keeping up with different design aesthetics. You'll see a lot of like coquette or like retro-y
Mhm.
fonts or like minimalist. Like I try to hit all different types of design aesthetics in mine,
Nice.
and that works for me, So
Mhm.
I think the main thing is making sure that you have the niche needs to be in demand, and the
Mhm.
product needs to be like a good quality, and your mock-up photos need to look good. And then if you have a good design to go with it, I think those two things paired together is like the perfect match.
I love that. How do you then, if we're thinking about just like start to finish, knowing that we're like, yours are ugly, I like mine, but you know what I mean? Like that's just a different style. Like what we see is a little bit different. So what, like, walk me through, like, how do you go from idea
Mhm.
to design to listing? Is there a bunch of research that happens up front? Or I know like you and I have talked in the past about like trends in the wild kind of concept that you really like seeing stuff like in stores, but obviously being in Greece might be a little bit different than the States. So how do
Right.
you go from like, I think this is going to be a good design to like, this one's selling off the shelves for you?
Okay, so I kind of do it two different ways. So, first, you want to always make sure that your product and niche is in demand first before you even sit down to design.
Mhm.
Because this was something that I had to get over in the beginning because I thought I had so many clever ideas and I would put things up and they wouldn't sell. And it was because like only I thought it was like it was like something like
Been
you
there
had
plenty of
to,
times.
yeah, like or you might think you have like the best idea, but then you might go on Etsy and it's completely saturated and you're like,
Mhm.
what? I thought of that first,
Mhm.
but like there's already a bunch of designs out there already. So
Right.
the main thing is before you even like get your feelings hurt, before you even sit down to design, make sure that it's in demand first and do that by going to Etsy and browsing the best sellers, and then of course I use EverBee to then validate that the niche is in demand, and just kind of browse, the top pages of Etsy bestsellers. I also take a look on Pinterest and then also social media. So, like if I'm browsing Instagram or TikTok, like my brain is always on, my eyes are always open, my brain is always on, and I'm just like always looking at what people are wearing or what new types of like trends that I'm seeing, even if it's not on a t-shirt. Like the coquette niche was huge. I was seeing
Mhm.
that before it even like it got really big. And it wasn't even just on like people's t-shirts. Like maybe they were like, they had a bow in their hair, or they were holding a cup that had like a bow. Like I started gathering information just in my scrolling behaviors, but then also in your everyday life. Like you said, it's a little bit different here in Greece because we don't have like malls to
Right.
walk into and browse the stores, like well, there is in Athens, but that's like 2 hours from me. But like,
Right.
so I'm not, I don't really get to keep up with the trends by going into American Eagle or like certain
Right.
stores like that, where you could certainly do that, or places like Hobby Lobby. I used to walk around and like read their signs that they had, and you can get ideas from just walking around in stores. So getting inspiration from when you're out and about, and make sure if you get a piece of inspiration while you're out and about. I'm so sorry. I think my neighbor is doing construction.
You're okay.
um, if you're out and about, take out your phone or something and jot down your idea, because you most likely will forget it later. Like there's so
For
many
sure.
times I'm like, what was I? What was that? Jot it down in your phone, but then don't sit down to design. You take that idea and you plug it into Etsy and
Mhm.
you see what's selling on Etsy. You use EverBee, see if it's actually in demand. If it is, then you sit down to design. And then when it's time to design, you try to get into a flow state, try not to force, and don't overthink your designs. Don't get too attached to your designs. I know it's hard to do. I've been there. You need to list it and you need to move on. Don't ever
Mm.
get attached to any one design, because the one that you think is the best most likely won't sell. And the
Right.
one that you're like, this is awful,
Right.
could become your bestseller. Like it's
Yeah.
happened so many times for me.
Mhm.
So
Someone
yeah.
just said a second ago, James Bryant just said, I have a shelf full of you should make these items, and they've been there for years. So I like that. I'll
Oh,
just like pull out my notes app, on my iPhone if I see something, or I'll take a picture of it if I'm
yeah.
out and about. But going back to the TikTok thing, I think that's a really, really good idea. We were talking about TikTok Shop earlier about how it's something that a shiny object syndrome of side hustles that we're falling into right now. But I really think there's an awesome opportunity for everyone who's watching this to also utilize that location for research. That's what I do personally, is like if I'm thinking about again, obviously finding a TikTok Shop product itself to potentially promote, then I'm going to obviously go into the TikTok search and type in whatever it is. So if if it's skincare, if it's jewelry, it's whatever. For you guys though, if you're looking for trends that are possibly already doing well socially and then wanting to go back to Etsy, wanting to go back to EverBee store, whatever it is, or if maybe you just sell, through ads, whatever it is, you can just go into TikTok, literally type in like t-shirt or trending t-shirt or something of the sort, just in the search bar. And TikTok Shop is their biggest money maker right now. So what are they going to show you first on that search? It's going to be TikTok Shop products, and it's going to be TikTok Shop products that we can't see are doing well. Like I can't actually see the numbers, but if it has good engagement and it's on the top of that search, theoretically speaking, you can assume that the TikTok algorithm is pushing that for a reason. So then we can actually see designs that someone might have gotten way before it got to Etsy, or maybe they found a way to like turn it into another niche or something, which is definitely something I want to talk about with you as well as like scaling. But that's something that I didn't even really think about until just now, since we're talking about, just joking around like all these TikTok Shop products. But how are the people who are selling these things finding these things to be so profitable for them? It's because they probably saw somebody else doing it and seeing success. So if you guys can utilize TikTok search bar the exact same way, that can really get you to like what is happening right now, or what is going to happen on Etsy. And then obviously, like you said as well, Pinterest is probably one of my, back in the day, I was on Etsy for 7 years. Back in the day, that was like the number one place that I went because I did a lot of homemade or handmade home decor. So it was like, that was the place to find, or Hobby Lobby, like you said. So highly recommend just like whatever your niche is, whatever your target audiences, your product type, whatever it is, just type those into social media search bars if you don't have the ability to go out physically and find things. And you're more than likely going to find more stuff that way than if you just went on Etsy and started trying to search stuff, because it is so saturated over there sometimes.
For sure. And you could even, if you find a video that went viral on TikTok, and like, let's say that I'm just using t-shirts as an example because that's mostly what I do, but say someone's not even like advertising a t-shirt, but they have an interesting t-shirt on. I guarantee you, if you click into the comments, there's people, where'd you get that shirt? Where did you get that shirt? I want that shirt. And then you're like, okay, alert, people like this type of design. Let me make something similar and put it on Etsy, which is a different. If people like it on TikTok, they're most likely going to like it on Etsy too. And it might not be there yet. And that's something you have to keep in mind as well. When I started like getting an inkling about the coquette niche and I went onto Etsy, it wasn't on there yet. I just like, the old me probably would have been like, oh, it's not even on demand on Etsy. Nobody's even doing it. So I'm not going to put it on there. But I had a gut feeling. I was like, if people are liking all this stuff on TikTok, like they're going to like it on Etsy too. So you have to kind of like get savvy with it and use your instincts. And like, I was one of the first, I feel like I was one of the first people to like get in on the coquette niche. Like anything I put up coquette was selling when it was like 2 years ago now, when it first like started really taking off. And it was all because I was seeing it on a different platform before it really hit on Etsy. So like product research is important to make sure things are in demand, but there are occasions where you need to use your gut and instinct and just dabble. I didn't like put up, I wasn't like, oh, coquette's huge, let me put up like hundreds of designs in coquette on Etsy. No, I just put up like 10 and let them sit and see if they sell. And then I was like, whoa, these are starting to sell. So I started building on that niche and started making more similar things. So you don't want to like waste all your time if you have a good idea and like just only focus on that. Just put up a couple things and see if you get some bites. Some like, I like to think of like you're putting your fishing poles out and see if you get some bites. Are you getting favorites? Are you getting sales? Are you having customers reach out to you? All of these are little bites and little inklings to let you know that you're on to something.
I like that. So let's say we find something on TikTok Shop. I'm going to go a little bit off script here because I think it's a really good conversation to have. Let's say someone goes on TikTok and they find, this really awesome shirt that maybe it is selling over there. Maybe it wasn't just like someone selling a tumbler and then they're wearing a cute shirt. Whatever happens, they're starting to see that this is getting traction in other places. Then they go to Etsy and they try to validate it using EverBee/Etsy. And they're not really seeing, like you said, you're like, old me might have been like, oh, never mind, that's not right. So I'm just trying to think like my audience here. they're more than likely all thinking, how do I even get sales if it's not there yet? So do you have a strategy for, I'm kind of going off of design a little bit here because I want to,
That's
package it
fine.
all in one little thing. But do you have a strategy for, this is the keywords or the SEO strategy or the listing strategy that I would use in a space that feels brand new on that platform?
When you have like something that's wide open like that, keep it simple. You can dominate so big in a niche if you're on top of it before anyone else. Keep it simple. Think of the words that people are going to be typing in the search to find your product. And like literally coquette t-shirt, but now coquette t-shirt is so saturated.
Right.
I would tell somebody to, use it in your tags, but use other like long tail keywords as well. But lane is wide open if you get on something before anyone else. And this is like, it's hard to do this, and it doesn't happen often. So I don't want you to like think you can tonight scroll on TikTok and find like a wide open lane like this. It just comes with like experience and just keeping your eyes and mind open at all times. And you will stumble across something eventually, and the lane could be wide open for you.
I think just thinking about what you said, like keeping it simple too, is like no one knew, what the word coquette or chinature or whatever, like all of those things that have popped off. I still can't say that word. No one knew what that was when it was actually happening. Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So it's like we see it, and we see the blue and the white. We see the red and the white. We see the bows. We see the girly things. Right. So keeping it simple, I'm even thinking of just, we didn't know back then that this was coquette shirt. It's just because it became a thing that someone knew. So I would even think of like, okay, I see this design. Let's just use coquette because it's easy to speak on. So I see this design aesthetic on TikTok. I think it could do well on Etsy too. What is that design aesthetic itself? So there's bows, there's cherries, there's like pastel pink, pastel blue, periwinkle, whatever, right? Girly, whatever. So you can type those kinds of words into your stuff. So like girly t-shirt, or girly crew neck, or just for girls, or something of that nature. And then you start understanding that that's the actual design aesthetic name for it that then you can start using. I didn't even think about that until now, but just thinking about how do I go from, I found this and I think it's going to do well, to Etsy. And I think that's the best way to start it. And then you can start using things as the platform starts to pick up that that's a trend.
Yeah. Another thing that you could do, like this is getting really deep, but you could snap a picture of whatever you're seeing, say it's on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest, like whatever you found, snap a picture of it. Even if you're out and about, out in the wild, snap a picture of it, put it into ChatGPT and say like, what is this design aesthetic called? And then that way you can, and then you could be like, tell me more about this design aesthetic, or like, are people into this aesthetic? Like you can use ChatGPT to your advantage too, to dig deeper into like a niche or even a design aesthetic like that.
Yeah. Such a good idea, because what I do, I didn't even think about ChatGPT, and I use that every single day. So I'm really surprised that didn't come to my head. But if you also go to, I'm going to see if I can pull it up on my phone and show you guys real fast. If you go to Google, let me turn down my light a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see this. So when you're on Google, in the search bar, there's going to be a little microphone here, and there's also going to be a little camera. So if you click that camera, and it's called the Google Lens. So if you click that camera, and then you can either select photos from your library, or you can seriously snap a picture right there on the, like if you're out in the wild. So let's say we take a screenshot on TikTok, we can upload that to Google Lens, or if we're out at Target, we can upload that to Google Lens, and then it will start to bring anything that's in Google search related to what you sent them. So it's kind of the same thing as ChatGPT, but that's really going to be, I didn't even think about telling you guys this. This is something I do all the time myself, is that's going to tell you, is there buzz happening off of Etsy right now? Because there might be a Pinterest trend page attached to it, or there might be something that like Hobby Lobby posted, and that's what they see on the horizon, because they do trends just like Etsy does. So that's another little tidbit, is like not only using ChatGPT, but also being able to do the Google Lens when you're right there in the moment, might be able to show you if demand is there or not by different searches as well.
That's so good because that's going to give you more like design inspiration and
True.
ideas too.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
true because you
it.
just go
That's
to
a new
images.
one. That's good.
Hey,
Thank
I
you for
taught
that.
something. I taught one
Yeah,
thing.
that's good.
Sweet, sweet. Okay, I love that. So then I guess the question then is when we're thinking about the data behind the design, what kind of data in Everbee or in Etsy are you paying attention to first? Is it sales? Is it conversion rates? Or is it views, like actual click throughs that people are like interested in this, but maybe they're not purchasing yet? Which one holds the most weight for you?
For me, what I love to do is I love to see the money. So I always go
True.
to the
Show me the
revenue
money.
so I go to the revenue tab and I refresh and make sure that it's the highest to the lowest. And I like to
Nice.
see what's the top sellers. But then that's not all I look at. I also like to see how long has this listing been up? Because if it's
Yep.
making the most money, but it's only been up for 2 months,
Right.
that's
Agreed.
huge ding, ding, ding. Or what I also like to use with Everbee is the trends graph. So you can see, is this seasonal? Is it just spiking this time of year and then it's going to go down? But let me make sure that it like was up this time last year too. So I know, use the trends graph to make sure that it's either going up or it's like staying consistently the same, or it has seasonal spikes. If it's going down, then you might want to like hold off on it, So I love the trends graph. But yeah, mainly I like to see revenue, but then also paired with that, total sales, because sometimes the revenue, it depends on the type of item. Maybe it's a high priced item, so that's why the revenue is the highest. So
True.
take a look to see how many total sales they have as well.
I think another one that I really like too, especially if we're talking about brand new potential listing or something that maybe hasn't even really hit and popped off on Etsy yet, is I really also like to look at favorites. So you can
Yeah.
do total favorites, because even if something isn't selling quite yet, if it's getting a lot of favorites, that usually means that there is potential for it because people are liking it and they are
Mhm.
actively saving it so they could come back and potentially buy it later.
For sure.
So I'm gonna actually share my screen real fast because I'm glad that you brought up the trends piece real fast, because I actually want to just do a little experiment with you guys. Let's make sure, yeah, we're all saying the same thing. So in product analytics, what this is what Jenny was referring to in the Everbee research tab. So over here on the left hand side, this is like an old Everbee store that or Everbee Etsy store that I had that doesn't exist anymore. But you can click product analytics over here and then type whatever you want in. I personally like to go here, so the Everbee database, so that I'm seeing everything. So right now we're looking at 16 million, almost 17 million listings under the word Christmas. And what she's talking about is this growth rate and this trend section right here. So this is actually a really good example. Let me see this one right here. So Christmas lights, it's a weird listing, of course, but Christmas lights Apple Watch, we're seeing it just go up in one particular time. It looks like basically, well, again, this is a bad example because there's only 4 sales, but this is what we mean by like, is it seasonal? Is it peaking here? Is it spiking here? Or is it doing well over time? So I want to actually look at this personalized. Actually, no, that's only 6 months old. So what I like to do with the trends and the growth rate is look at how old it is and see how far we can go back. So let's do this one. Custom name necklace. It's 33 months old. And then I open it up and I'm going to scroll down to trends graph here. Now, I actually have the business plan of Everbee Research. So this is going to allow me to go further than the last month. And I want to show you guys why this is so important. So we're seeing a ridiculous amount of money here. And it seems to kind of be, stable-ish, but we're also seeing a little bit of a peak here in October 23. So, or October 23rd. So my thought is, theoretically speaking, maybe this is a seasonal product, or maybe it's going to spike in high times where jewelry can be gifted. So Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, etc. But in order for me to guarantee that or to test that hypothesis, I'm actually going to drop down. We know this is 33 months old, so I can literally go last 24 months if I wanted to. And I think I just proved my point a little bit. So we're seeing a huge uptick in December 23, over 11,000 sales of December of 2023. Then we're seeing a little bit down on February, March. The summer is like they're making some sales, but nothing crazy. And then we're going back up again December 24. and then nothing too crazy. And then, like we just saw a second ago, if we go back to last month, we saw an uptick in October. So I just wanted to show you guys a quick example of what that could look like. And what Jenny was kind of referring to is like, yeah, the last 30 days is helpful, but what did last December look like? What did last May look like? What did last summer look like? That's what I like to personally use the business plan for, to be able to see over time when I'm trying to help you guys find these trends. It's not that this is popping off right now and it's only been alive for whatever. It's like, I can also guarantee that it did well this time last year as well.
Yeah, that was a perfect example too.
Yeah, I think thank God that one wasn't.
And I really quick before it slips my mind, because this is important too. We've been talking a lot about trends here, but I want you guys to know that it's equally important to have, like make your shop 50 to 60% evergreen products.
Agreed.
Because you want those consistent sales year long, year after year. Whereas if you're just chasing the trends, you're just going to get that spike and then the trend's going to fade and you're forever going to be like on the treadmill chasing trends. Trends are an amazing way to like hit the ground rolling, get that snowball rolling in your shop, or when times are slow, like jumping on a trend. But it's equally important to have these evergreen products in your shops as well. So always, I'm sorry, I forget who it was in the beginning. They said that they had a shelf of a list of ideas. Use that list, like always go back to that timeless evergreen list and work on that. When a trend comes around, jump on it, dabble in it, see if it, gives you attraction, but then always go back to that list and work on that list so that you can, have, the two together is going to really make your shop consistent and sustainable over time.
So then you're going to have less of those crazy spikes and more of that stability over time. So I love that. So we've been talking a little bit about, we've alluded to the scaling concept of how to scale against different niches. I kind of want to ask another kind of off the cuff question when we're thinking about the evergreen and trend concept. My thought is I've seen this do well and I want to get your take on it or how you do this if you have in the past. I've seen a lot of people do very, very successfully by finding a trend. Let's just use coquette. So the coquette trend comes in and then they apply it to an evergreen niche or an evergreen saying that they've had in their shop before. Have you done something like that too? And how does it work?
All the time. Like that's when I follow trends, that's what I'm doing too. That was a good question. Like, I'm not going to just, oh, coquette's big. Let me write coquette and big word like that. You want to take what you're seeing selling and apply it to those evergreen niches. And, people aren't always going to want a coquette teacher shirt that's going to like fade, but you will, consistently get those sales in the evergreen niches. And then when you definitely apply it to a trending design aesthetic or a trending niche, you can cross niche. It's a sure shot way to make even more sales for sure.
I love that. So, because that's like you said, that's like cross niching in that space. So being able to pull something that we already know works with something we think is about to work, and instead of just letting them kind of stand on their own. I love that. So when we're thinking about scaling, let's use coquette again. It's just the easiest thing to do because we've talked about it a couple times. I'll just keep talking about bows, I guess, today. But so if we're talking about the coquette space, the bow space, whatever, how do you scale that yourself? Like, how do you see that this can go across multiple different niches or multiple different target audiences, knowing that you and your husband both have more generalized stores? How do you take something that you think will work or is proven already to work and is doing well on Etsy? How do you take that and kind of go out to multiple different people at once?
Sure. So, okay, I'll use another quick example after the coquette because you guys are probably like, "What's going on with it?" But so I, you see coquettes like trending. It's bows, it's pink, baby pinks, it's baby blues, it's frilly, it's cutesy girly stuff. So, like, say I want to take that to the teacher niche. On a teacher shirt, I might have like graphics that why can't I think of the words right now? Like teacher graphics, little mini, let's think of like grid style, right? So maybe I'll have like a cute little pencil drawing and then a bow.
I see.
Pencil. and then like a cute little apple, and then a bow, and then a cute little book, and then a bow, and a bus, and a bow, and a so, but then that's for teachers, right?
Right.
Say that starts to sell. Okay, if a teacher likes that, chances are a nurse is going to like that. So now I'm just going to keep those bows in place, and I'm going to swap out the teacher elements and put in what's it called, a stethoscope?
Yeah, stethoscope, syringe, whatever.
So yeah, and you swap it out like that.
Like
and that's just one little design example. That's, the grid style, but maybe you just literally have the word teacher in a cute, like baby pink pastel-y font that have like bows on it, and that starts selling. So it's like, again, if a teacher likes that, then chances are like a doctor will like that. So let me put doctor in that same template. Like you just swap out the word teacher and type in doctor, and you can make a bunch of designs really quickly. But let's say you have a design that's like, now this is like really basic and generic, but world's best teacher on a mug, right? If that's taking off, then chances are a nurse, again, would love that. So you're going to just take out teacher and substitute it with nurse. And then if a nurse likes it, a doctor might. So world's best doctor, world's best dentist, etc. But don't scale out your designs like massively like this unless the first one starts really taking off. Like you don't want to flood your shops with, oh, that's a cute idea. World's best teacher, world's best doctor, world's best dentist, world's best dog mom, blah, 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 blah. And the design never sold once. You're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your listing fees. You're going to have a shop with a bunch of dusty listings. I've done this before because I thought I had great ideas, and then you just have a shop with listings that don't sell. You use the scaling method when something starts to sell. And then you start to think, how can I expand this one idea? And there's a bunch of different ways to expand it. You can do sub niches. So if we're talking about dog, like say you have a dog design, sub niches would be breeds of the dog. So now you can make that design for pit bull lovers. You can make the design for Yorkie lovers, golden retriever lovers. So you sub niche, but then you can also think of like different audience angles. So what are variations for like dog parents or couples with dogs, or like you can pair it with hobbies, like hiking with my pit bull, something, so you can expand it that way through audiences. And then you can expand it through styles. So you could do like a minimalist style of that design. You could do an illustration style of that design. You could do just big, bold, white font that my husband likes to do. Like, so you do different design aesthetics. And then the last way to really expand is like pairing it with holidays or events.
100%.
So like you can literally take one idea and expand it out in so many different ways, but you don't want to do that until like your first idea starts selling. You don't want to waste your time. Follow the money is what I always say. Like if you get, let's say you get 3 sales on something, that's a good indicator that people are liking it, and start to scale and follow the money once you start seeing a few sales come in or some favorites or customers asking about it. Those are your signs to start scaling out a design.
Yeah. And I thought too, while you were talking about the grid concept, what if we even, thinking of holidays, took out the what's it called? The syringe, the stethoscope, the pencil, the apple, whatever, and replaced it with pumpkins, or replaced it with little pink Christmas trees. Like it's the exact same thing.
There's so many ways.
Yeah, with the same concept that like you were kind of already saying, like that we can go multiple different people, but then we can also just take that same one design that did well and then actually scale it out multiple places as well. So I'm going to share my screen again really fast before we move on to our Q&A today, because I just wanted to show you guys while she was talking, I just looked this up just for shiggles, just to see if it would work. And I just typed in blue chinoiserie shirt. So I literally didn't type any niches, nothing else. I just wanted to go this direction. And you're seeing, I don't know what OMA is, but whatever, you're seeing an OMA. You're seeing something that's more focused on fraternity or Panhellenic here. You're seeing nurse right here. You're seeing like the Christian religious aesthetic right here. Let's see if there's mama.
it looks like they like cross niched it with coquette as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing some bows with the Chinoiserie, so that's hilarious. Like that, and granted, we're looking at the sales. Like it's not, we're able to see this with EverBee, which is helpful. But I think
Yeah.
this one right here is such a good example. It's only been alive for 7 months, has an average of around 63 monthly sales, and it is like 3 different niches. So we're talking
Mhm.
mama, like parents or whatever in general. We're talking
Yeah.
the blue Chinoiserie concept. And then we're talking about boy mama all in one thing. Those are
Yeah.
the thing. That's the reasons, in my opinion, why something like that could do really well. Someone real kayak fishing just said Oma is another word for grandmother. Did not know that. So that's even cooler. I love that they did that because I wouldn't have known, but that might be a really, really cool niche that obviously real kayak fishing and maybe other people are familiar with
Yeah.
that term as well. So that might even be something you could charge more for theoretically, because that might even be a more like niche down group of people with an emotional sentiment as well.
For sure. And like, don't overwhelm yourself, guys, either. Like, save the template, save it
Mhm.
so that you can go back to it. And then you just have to substitute the
Absolutely.
word or like the graphics. And then also, like, Kittl is amazing for that too. They have templates that you like pretty much already done for your templates that you can go in and just tweak them out as well. So be smart with it. Like, don't overwhelm yourself with it. And, just, yeah, like save your template so you can just quickly go in and switch it to a different niche if you see that it starts taking off.
What I used to do back in the day was actually just made the parameters, the size parameter templates. So like if Printify was 3,500 by 4,100 for a crew neck PX, then I would just have that as my template, and then I would just make hella designs in it and just keep building off of that. Back in the day on Canva, it used to be you could only have 50 pages. Now it's like unlimited, so you can really
Yeah.
just build, and then download.
Yeah.
So highly recommend, like she said, make sure you save those in an appropriate place and make sure it's the right size, obviously, because that's something we didn't really have time to talk about today. But size parameters, pixelation, all of
Yeah.
that, DPI makes so much importance in the design space, because what we don't want to do, which I've seen time and time again, is even when someone is even building a mock-up for a thumbnail, they'll have a little bit of a pixelated design. And if it doesn't look
Yeah.
good on a thumbnail, I'm not really trusting you that
Right.
it's going to look all that great on the shirt or the crew neck or whatever I'm going to grab. So just make
Yeah.
sure, like, whoever you are using, or if you're even building your own, like we talked about earlier, if you're a screen printer, handmade apparel seller, whatever it is, just make absolutely certain that your parameters are in the right place, your pixelation, your resolution, all of those things are in the right place in order to make this scalable. So it can be as small as possible or it can be as big as possible. So with that said, Jenny, I want to move in really quickly to, we have 2 questions from our team today that I want to ask. But do you have anything on your YouTube channel related to sizing parameters, or anything that like maybe like some Kittl tutorials or something they can look from for you?
Yes, I have plenty. One of my most recent ones that I think could be helpful is if anybody's looking into getting into embroidery. I just put up a YouTube video
Perfect.
like 2 or 3 videos ago showing how to make embroidery mock-ups with
Nice.
Kittl. It's like the most ridiculous, easiest way to make embroidery mock-ups. And that's huge because a lot of people weren't selling embroidery because of the mock-up. So
Yeah.
go
Because it's
check that
supposed to like come off the shirt, and
out.
it's really, really hard to do that. Yeah, I love that.
So that's my most like recent one on mockups. But yeah, I'm constantly weekly adding new videos there.
Perfect.
So
And all they have to do is type in Jenny from the shop with 2 P's, just like it
yeah,
is today on your thing. Cool.
yes,
So you can
thank you.
find her on TikTok, you can find her on Instagram, you can find her on YouTube as well, where she'll obviously go way more in depth. I believe you're about to hit your 2-year
And
mark on
EverBee,
YouTube, right? Oh
EverBee,
yeah. That's so funny. Also, if you guys were not aware, she is also the face of EverBee's socials as well. So if you see the TikTok or Instagram page for EverBee, we
that's
highly,
something.
highly recommend you check that out as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny you said that, because I was like, that's
I
what I
just
know. Obviously, I see you all the time, but I just forgot about it for a second because it's
I'm
so
Jenny
natural
this
for me.
hour.
Yeah, Jenny from the shop this hour, but in a couple minutes she's going to be EverBee.
I'm
So
actually a
you can see her
post
over
on
there too.
EverBee, so
Nice. Very cool. All right, so let's get into the questions real fast. Looks like I have about 2 to 3 I want to ask you. I'm just going to make this as easy as possible. Someone said, how do you spell, forgive me, chinoiserie and coquette? I'm like, good question,
oh
because I obviously didn't do it right. But I'm
yeah.
going to
So
actually just copy and paste this into the chat for you real fast, Casey.
I
And
always
then Etsy
spell
will
most
tell
of
you if it's right.
mine.
There you go. So you can try to copy and paste those, but Etsy's going to tell you if you're right or wrong because that might not be correct. There's also another one, by the way, that I'll pop in here. It's called Twole, I believe. So it's like Toile, and that's another word for the chinoiserie thing.
Yeah.
Chinoiserie. See, I'm still doing it wrong.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's been like a year and I still don't know how to say it. Literally. Okay. So we had someone, Nadez, I'm just not even going to try that one. Someone asked, do you pay for ads or how do you promote your items?
Lovely question. And short answer is no, I don't pay for ads. However, Etsy runs offsite ads after you make a certain amount. I think it's like after you make your first 10,000 or something like that. So they've been running offsite ads for me, but I don't run ads. And I also don't market my items. I don't use social media for them. I just, I'm huge on making sure that the product is in demand, doing product research. I use EverBee for that. And if you have good titles and tags, the keywords that you put in your titles and tags Etsy will help bring organic traffic to your listing. So now, sure, running ads will bring more traffic to your shop if the listing is right. Like my rule is if you want to run ads in your shop, make sure that and this is just my advice. So just take what you want from it. But I say make sure that your listing has already made a few sales organically. That shows you that the SEO is good, that it's like in demand and people are already finding it. If you run ad spend on that, then it's like fueling the fire and Etsy will show it to more people that like it. But if you're putting ad spend on a product that is never organically sold, that could mean that one, the product's not in demand, or two, you have the wrong keywords in your titles and tags. So they're putting ad spend to show it to the wrong audience of people. So be very careful. I know people who have lost a lot of money running ads. In my opinion, you don't need them if you are doing product research and are using the right keywords in your titles and tags.
Love it. Beautiful. So we talked about evergreen products a little while ago. Selena wants to know, in your opinion, what are some examples of evergreen products or evergreen spaces?
Great question. So pretty much like professions, hobbies, like labels, moms, dads, parents, grandparents, teachers, nurses, dog, like pets is a huge one, but even things like sports, like pickleball, golf, like things that are, like people's everyday lifestyle and everyday things that people might be searching for all year round. Whereas Christmas, like you could say seasons are kind of evergreen because they come around every year. But I wouldn't so much say that. It's more the things that could sell all throughout the year.
Yeah. Usually for evergreen, my easiest answer is I like to think of things that are tied to someone's identity. So are they horror movie lovers? That's a good thing. Are they, like you said, are they a mom? Are they a sister? Are they an aunt or whatever? Usually I like to say is like, how does someone identify? That's going to be usually an evergreen space.
Love it.
Cool. All right. The last one we have for today is from UV. I'd love to know what's the best place, in your opinion, for mockups. I'm planning to start a digital download shop. That's actually a really important piece to this because those are very different questions potentially for print on demand versus digital mockups. But she would love any advice. Do you have any advice of where she can find the best mockups for digital?
I think if you haven't tried this already, I love getting my mockups from Etsy. If you're not going to make them yourself, you could probably make them yourself using Kittl or finding some within Canva. But I really like just going to Etsy. So whatever type of digital download you're selling, go to the Etsy search and maybe let's say you're selling like a digital planner and you want to show it on an iPad. So go into the Etsy search and say like digital iPad mockup. And you'll get a ton of different variations there for a few dollars and you can use them over and over again.
Yeah, love that. Also, Placeit does do some digital ones. They're more so going to be in like the apparel, obviously physical product space. But that's one to look at. Obviously, Creative Fabrica. If you've ever been there before, I highly recommend, or if you haven't been there before, I highly recommend checking them out because they do, it's basically, Creative Fabrica is a marketplace for creatives to upload their designs for then you to utilize. And there are a lot. I've actually got most of my digital product mockups came directly from there. And then the best answer answer, I don't want to say easiest answer because it will take a little bit of time, but something to make sure that you are unique and you are not a copy of a copy and you look just like the person right next to you on the Etsy search. It's just go into Etsy search, take screenshots of high performing listings mock-ups, and then just go rebuild that uniquely yourself, like in Canva or something.
Yeah. And if you don't, you probably already know, because if you're selling digital downloads, I'm sure you're like savvy with this already, but in Canva, you could just go over to Elements, I believe it would be. And then in the search there, you could type in like iPad mockup or laptop mockup. And typically it'll appear as like an iPad, and you can just drag your picture right into it and it'll look nicely. And like Leslie's saying, like you could drag in more iPads or like a cell phone too, and then a laptop as well.
Yep. That's how I built all of mine for like my courses and digital products I've done in the past. So I just like to kind of see, like we talked about,
make it for you.
Honestly, hit me up. But we've been talking about, trends and emulations of things that are already working. This is just another layer of that, of like what mock-ups are doing well in the space. Let me make my own. Cool. All right. The last one we have for today, then, real fast before I let you go. Thank you guys so much. It is 11 o'clock, so I appreciate you staying a little bit longer while we get this last question asked, if you're still here. Have you found that the new Etsy SEO title recommendations works to find your items, or did you just keep your original ones?
So great question. I tested them. I did about 50 of my listings and I didn't see it make a difference at all. So I decided to keep all my other listings the same. So I was like, oh, if Etsy favors these listings, that's going to show me I'm going to change all of them. But nothing changed for me. So even ones that were selling, I tested and they continued to sell. Ones that weren't selling yet, nothing changed. So I'm just sitting on it until I like hear more.
Sweet. And did you give it a specific amount of time to confirm or deny? Was it 2 weeks? Was it 30 days? Was it 7 days?
It's been about since they dropped it.
So like almost 3 months now.
Ago, I think so. And I've been checking consistently and nothing has changed.
Sweet. Sounds good. So, James said he did lose traffic when he made some changes. And this is just something I want to say, like as a blanket statement for anything that we do changes wise, because Etsy's always, their main priority is them, obviously, in making money. And that's everything. That's every single business, right? Even, let's be honest, EverBee, we love you guys, but it's a business, right? So what can we do, quote unquote, whatever it is, whoever the we is in the situation, to make more money? So they're always testing to make that possible. So knowing that like you might have to change things 7 times in a year because you are following what you think they want you to do. So what I usually like to say as a blanket statement is, if you think you want to test and you do want to make these changes, do a small little general thing like Jenny did. So maybe small 50, a small 10, whatever is going to make sense for you. But then I personally also recommend duplicating instead of changing the thing that's already working. But like Jenny said, if it wasn't even selling in the first place, feel free to go ahead and make that adjustment. But I wouldn't make too many adjustments to one thing, because then you also won't know what caused the change or didn't cause the change in the first place.
Yeah, duplicating is great. Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. Cool. Okay. Well, we had eDesigns2G said, great questions. Awesome session, with a clap emoji. So I'm happy to hear it. Jenny, thanks so much for coming back again. This is our third big conversation. Obviously, you and I are friends offline, talking all the time too, but really appreciate you being here with EverBee. Thank you for everything you do. Make sure you go follow the EverBee TikTok and Instagram, because that's going to be directly from Jenny's mouth on all of those. So,
and it's more than print on demand on there. We cover digital products, handmade products, everything. So
all of it. Yeah. Beautiful. So Jenny, before I close out today, I really want to make sure I like to leave the floor open at the very end. If you were to never talk to our audience ever again past this session, what is one thing you want to leave them with today?
Don't give up, and to follow the money. So, and to remember, that business is about serving others. So sometimes you might think you have a really great idea, and it really might be a great idea to you and to some people, but follow the money, follow the sign, like whether it's the money coming into your shop or the money revenue that you're seeing other sellers make through EverBee, follow the money and build your shop off of what's working for you and what's working for others. So
love that. Very cool. We've said follow the money multiple times today, so I think that's the takeaway. I'll put that in the title.
Follow the money.
Amen, girl. Well, thank you so much again for today. Thank you
you.
all for being here with us. I will not see you guys next week, but we will see you the following Thursday, December 4th. So until then, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.